very much. Look, first of all, can I say it is a huge pleasure to be in Lincoln, and I want to say it is a particular pleasure to be here to support our absolutely fantastic parliamentary candidate, Lucy Rigby. Let's hear it for Lucy, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic candidate that she is. Now, look, we are doing politics in a different way. We are coming to town squares, market squares, places all around this country in these county council elections, talking to people about how Britain needs to change. And that's what I've come to Lincoln today to do. And let me just say a few words by way of introduction, then I'll take questions from people in the audience. Look, my starting point is this. After 3 years of this government, I think people think Britain is not headed in the right direction. Because 3 years ago they promised change. They promised things would get better, not worse. And actually what we've seen since then is the squeeze on living standards get worse. The level of long-term unemployment, youth unemployment, get worse. The ability to buy a house or rent a home become more difficult. So actually Britain heading in the wrong direction, not the right direction. Now the question people are asking is, can anybody turn this country round? And my emphatic answer to that is yes, we can turn Britain round. And that's what Labour is offering at these county council elections. And let me just be very clear with you about the things we're saying in these elections. The crisis in living standards is the focus of our campaign. We start by saying we shouldn't be cutting taxes for millionaires at this time of all times. We should be protecting the tax credits that make work pay for people. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't that what we need to do? We should be having a mansion tax on the most expensive homes in the country to bring back a 10p starting rate of income tax to make work pay for everyone in Britain. We should be taking on the energy companies. You know, these energy companies, year after year, they just get away with ripping people off. And I was on television, breakfast television yesterday, and they said, well, what would you specifically do? And I gave a very clear answer. We would break the monopoly of the big 6 energy suppliers, and instead of having a toothless regulator, we would have a regulator that could force prices down. That is what we need to deal with the energy rip-offs that we face in this country. We will take on the train and bus companies. And you know, who here is facing higher train or bus fares? I mean, everybody in the audience will be suffering from higher public transport fares. We should actually do something about it and stop the loopholes that allow the train companies and the bus companies to rip people off. There's one other thing that I'm talking about today, and that's the idea of the living wage. The minimum wage is an incredibly important idea, a basic legal minimum. But a living wage is a different idea. It says over and above a legal minimum, people need to be paid enough to get them out of poverty, actually decent wages. And the living wage is being pioneered by Labour councils all around the country, and it's something that they're hoping to do here in Lincoln. But I'm talking about something else today, which I think is even more exciting. For every pound the private sector spends on raising people's wages above the minimum wage, it would save 50p to the government in lower tax credits and lower benefit bills. Now what I'm saying today is let's use some of that money that government would save to work with local authorities all around the country to say, let's get the private sector to start paying the living wage to people, and let's give an incentive, because we need decent living wages for people right across this country. So these are 5 things that we're campaigning on in these local elections. Let me just say one other thing. I don't just offer a different style of management to David Cameron in these elections. I offer a different vision of how Britain succeeds. You see, he really does believe that the way a country succeeds is with a few people at the top of society. A few people in the banks, a few people elsewhere, that they're the wealth creators. I disagree. I think the wealth creators are the people who put in the hours, who do the shifts, who open their small businesses early in the morning, who are frankly doing 2 jobs in this country and struggling to make ends meet. And a Labour Party in government will be supporting those people, not the richest in society. And I call it a very, very simple idea: one nation. One nation is the idea. It's the way we won the Second World War. The only way we succeed as a country is by using the talents of everyone, not using the talents of a few. That is something this government doesn't understand. It is something a one nation Labour government would understand. Please vote for us next Thursday in the County Council elections here in Lincolnshire. Please make Lucy Rigby the next Member of Parliament for Lincoln.